Hey everybody. One of the things our team has been working on over the past few months is using ChatGPT to create optimized content outlines. Over the past month, we've transitioned the process into trying to use a custom GPT to make this overall process more efficient and smooth. And so I wanted to walk through the custom GPT that we built to get some ideas, feedback, test it out, and get some opportunities to make it even better. So I walk through the back end of the custom GPT as well as one of my test runs in this. Um, to start off with, the description and instructions. So in the past, whenever we were using or prior to custom GPTs, we would have this full prompt that we would upload into ChatGPT to try to do everything all at once. This includes letting it know the target topic, the audience, the keywords, some competitor URLs, and then asking GPT to have an output of optimized metadata, a competitor analysis, all of the header details and content instructions, schema, and everything all at once. And what we realized during this is that it would get some sections really good. They would be pretty correct and optimized, and other sections just wouldn't be up to par or they would just be missing entirely. So within this custom GPT, we formatted the instructions to have the GPT focus on one section at a time. The section one that I have written right here is just to get some information from the user. This includes that topic and purpose, the audience, and the keywords, so that the GPT has all of this information prior to trying to do the outline, the metadata, and everything else. Some of the other items that I have in here is the knowledge, including some of our internal training of how to create an optimized content outline, what the format of those should be, an example of that, and as well as just some metadata optimization tips and other things. Hopefully, with all of this format or with all of this knowledge, it'll help make the outline more consistent, efficient, and just upper quality overall. So within the test that I just ran, the conversation starter is just that I want to create an optimized content outline. GPT says, great. To start, it'll need a couple things. So first, what I mentioned, that target topic and purpose, audience, and keywords. So for this test, the main topic of the content was data-driven marketing, why it's important, as well as the purpose, the audience of this, and my list of keywords. The GPT thanks for that, understands the information, and now it's going to ask for a competitive URLs. So the competitive URLs are to help with GPT to look at the any other content, some of those best in class pages that are ranking really well for our target keywords, similar to what we would do within a process of manually of looking over competitor content to see where our content should follow some similar structure as well as what we can do a little differently to make our content unique. So after providing some of these URLs that are ranking really well for our target topic, the GPT will provide a brief competitive analysis that includes the SEO successes, content structure details, as well as opportunities for differentiation within our content. Read over this, and then it'll ask if this is approved or if we need to look into anything else. Can approve and move to the next section. This next section is actually something that whenever we were looking at the entire prompt all at once, GPT would just consistently forget to provide recommended meta title tags, descriptions, and recommended URLs. So by having it focus on all of these things one at a time, while this one wasn't perfect, we did give the opportunity to look it over, have some rationale, and then update it as necessary. Within this specific example, I was looking over all of these recommendations, and I thought the title tag looked a bit long. It was, so I let it know this meta title is over our required character limit, update it so it won't get truncated in the search results. This is one of the best parts about the custom GPTs, and I guess Chat GPT as a whole, is that you can just use this natural language to walk through some of the recommendations and updates that you want to see, and then easily have it updated to what you're looking for. So I let it know about that. It provided the updated title tag, which is just data-driven marketing ROI. I approved this one if you would want to, continue to tweak it as is, or continue to tweak it or approve it as is. Definitely able to do so. I approved this one and told it to proceed to the next section. Again, within the custom instructions, I have each of these sections lined out so that every section is more focused. This next one is just the overall content outline. So what are the header tags going to be? What should be included in each of these sections? In this case, GPT provided a content outline, data-driven marketing ROI with some information within this. And just looking over this, I just realized that it didn't really stand up to par with just an optimized page, one, and then formatted correctly for a Seer template of a content outline. So after looking at all of this, I thought it's going to need some updates. Some of those things is in the competitive analysis earlier, it mentioned some of those common sections discovered in the competitive analysis for the content structure. Let's add in some of those sections that Google may seem as a requirement even to rank for some of these key terms. And also, within our formatting requirements, we have keyword targets, competitive examples, so that whenever we hand this off to a content writer, they have some inspiration and a bit more information of what each section should include. So had this and then received an updated content outline with the H1, what is data-driven marketing and why it's important, a lot better than just the data-driven marketing and ROI that was previously, as well as some keyword targets, competitive examples that from the URLs we provided earlier, and then much more formatted correctly, so it's a little bit easier to digest and up to par. After reviewing this, I thought this was overall solid outline. The only thing that I noticed within the implementing data-driven marketing sections is that it mentioned some steps to create a strategy and address some common challenges within data-driven marketing. I think it'd be great if we provided some information, some additional information here for the content writer or whoever is approving this outline. I let it know to update that and leave the rest of the outline as is. And it did. It updated those sections with a little bit more information on what those recommended steps should be, as well as some of what those challenges are going to be as well. Ask it to incorporate this in the previous outline. The format was a little bit different, just with instead of bold, it was italic right here, but overall, the same outline with the added information in our sections. Cool. It's approved. Let's move to the next section. Again, just by naturally talking to the GPT to create this outline. Now that it's approved, the next section for the custom GPT is to provide schema and schema recommendations and frequently asked questions for our content. So it provided this information as well as how long the content length should be for some of these questions. So personally, I'm not a technical SEO expert, so I thought, yeah, these are great schema recommendations. Please provide some markup for this so I can easily add it into our page and for proper optimization, right? And it was easily able to provide all of this information that I could copy over for our page. So as the last step after this is approved, it's just to consolidate all of these things at once. I know I've mentioned it a couple times, but rather than having the GPT focus on everything all at once, we just had it focus on each of those individual sections, hopefully leading to a higher quality result. So it goes back to the very beginning of our conversation to get the topic, goal, and the target audience that I mentioned, getting that the title tag, description, and URL, as well as some of these header sections and schema. Now, I would like for it to include everything detailed all at once that I've mentioned was approved, but as far as this step, the furthest that I got was just to have a detailed or a descriptive competitive analysis, as well as some of the H1, H3s, just without all of those detailed content instructions. So this was the initial test that we ran for the custom GPT content outline creator. I do think there are some benefits of this custom GPT, such as having the knowledge right here to include training, best in class examples, and outline templates to increase or to help with the consistency. Having all of these instructions in the back end so you don't have to worry as much about what prompts you're giving it, and you're able to just naturally talk through updating that outline. And all that you really need to start is just that topic, purpose, target audience, keyword research, and some competitive URLs to get started with creating this outline that hopefully aligns more so with Seer standards. Now, it's definitely not perfect, still just a prototype, and with it being a work in progress, even with all of the instructions that we provided on the back end, and this knowledge that we have in here, it still needs a little assistance in creating an optimized content outline. And I think this is where SEO expertise really plays a part in helping the GPT reach our desired results. It's not a quote unquote SEO expert or anything, but kind of having its efficiency and having its role and having ours in, kind of guiding it definitely helps lead to a more efficient process. Um, and it is efficient, but it can't do it by itself. So thanks for listening. It'd be awesome to get some feedback or results if from anyone that tests it out. So let us know if you have any questions. Thanks.